If you've ever taken a vacation to Disney World, you may have driven on the way there past this massive abandoned complex on the side of the road. Located off of one of the most busy roads in America, I-4, this massive 77-acre property has now become a haven and a place of safety for many homeless people. The question lies, what did this property used to be? And what happened to it? And what are the future plans with it? This is the story of the Orlando Sun Resort, the rise and fall of one of the most popular hotels in all of Florida. The year is 1973, and Walt Disney World has just opened its first park 2 years earlier. At the time Magic Kingdom was opened, there was a problem. There was only 2 resorts in operation, those being the Contemporary and then the Polynesian Resort shortly after. This caused a lodging problem for guests, as these resorts were often sold out. This created a business opportunity, and a company by the name of Carando Corporation, headed by a former congressman named Jim Gardner, took advantage of this. They envisioned a massive 1,000-room hotel that included a 500-foot observation Space Needle tower. In 1973, they completed the first phase of this project. They opened the resort side of this project and named it the Carando Motor Inn. The project was slated to cost $46 million, and unfortunately, the Carando Inn would never reach its full potential. Serious financial troubles caused this corporation to default on their loan. Less than a year after the project was started, it was then sold and renamed Hyatt Orlando. Hyatt would then complete the hotel, and throughout the 1970s and the 1980s, it saw great success with thousands of guests coming here. The convenience of the location, with it being around 10 to 15 minutes from Disney World, caused this resort to thrive. It was only amplified by there being a lack of hotels within the theme park itself. Unfortunately for this resort, in the 1990s, things were about to change.
This is big, real big. Disney's all-star resorts.
In the 1990s, Disney actually opened up several new resorts, including a budget-friendly option for families to stay at. The Hyatt Orlando was already struggling with an outdated facility, but when Disney opened up resorts, in particular like the All-Star, this caused guests to actually switch from Hyatt Orlando over to Disney World. Not only were guests now closer to the theme parks, they now had a cheaper budget option to stay at. Fast forward to 2003, and the Hyatt Orlando is struggling immensely. The September attacks on the Twin Towers has left the tourist industry in shambles, and the Hyatt Orlando was no different. Without warning, they closed the resort in 2003, leaving guests and employees alike in shock. Knowing little about the history, in 2022, we venture into this resort and uncover a little bit more and piece together what happened to it.
Okay guys, so we've made it into this abandoned hotel, and there's some rooms that have been pretty much untouched, so it's really cool to see, and it's been abandoned for probably, I'd say 5 or 6 years, but it's an old convention center, so we're going to take you through it. I don't know much history on it. I think it was a Marriott or something like that, but make sure if you like this content, make sure you like and subscribe.
I think those are open.
So we've made it into one of the hotel rooms, and there is a little bit of damage here. For the most part, everything is in pretty good shape. Like, there isn't any graffiti. It just looks like somebody did a little bit of work, removed the blanket, and, smashed the window in, but that let us in. So the coffee's still even here.
Much to our surprise, most of the rooms in the hotel were still intact. But instead of showing Hyatt, they actually showed a different name. Because you see, in 2003, that was not the end of the story. And this resort was actually reopened, as we will cover a little bit later in this video.
Look at this. So they still have the cups all lined up here.
This one is well preserved.
It is. This room is cool. This room, like, even if we don't see anything else really in here, this made my day so far. I'd say we kind of walk up here and see what we're running into.
I don't think those are open.
The soap is still here.
Yo, I want that. Let's leave it to someone else.
Yeah.
I kind of want to take it, but
Yeah, I think they. Yeah, I do too.
like for the rest of the month.
It's so handy. It saves you money. Yeah, all the copper wires are taken out.
To make matters harder, at the time we were exploring this resort, they had an on-duty guard, so we had to dodge him.
Currently walking through the hall, so we don't want anybody to spot us. This is one of the more creepy explores I've done in a while. There's a guard that is circling, so we're trying to just be a little careful. Remember, we never vandalize or anything like that.
Ooh, I see the roof access.
The old Hyatt resort sat abandoned for a number of years until it was finally purchased by a company. That company was the Marriott Hotel brand.
So right now, we have made our way into the abandoned conference hall. And this place used to be something pretty cool, but unfortunately there's been a lot of graffiti that has happened here, so yeah, this is about all that's left of here.
Looking on booking.com, we were able to find some old photos of what this conference room used to look like.
So here's one of the main hallways, and this is stretching all throughout places. This one has been tagged up galore. That's sad. It's big building. Everything has been smashed or tagged up or pulled. You can tell a lot of copper wire thieves have been here.
In 2003, Hyatt Orlando had stopped paying their over $20 million debt on this property. At the time when Marriott took over this resort, it had been sitting for a number of years, so there's a lot of problems that needed to be fixed.
Okay, so we're making our way up the stairs, and you are totally visible from this window, but you do have a good vantage point, so I'm gonna make my way up the stairs. Oh, it looks like I know where we're going.
An interesting thing that we noticed about this resort is that all of the rooms in the conference areas had a Florida name, such as Fort Lauderdale or Key Largo.
This one has been torn up. Yeah. They took, yeah, gotcha. They took all the chairs and just threw them on the wall here. Vandals got a hold of this place big time. You good, man?
Yeah, I'm good. I just raised my hand. Who does that? That's terrifying.
That is.
It's not normal. I mean, it's funny. I'm sure it was meant to be funny, or just a bunch of kids.
I probably.
But
Oh, I
I've
can.
never seen something like that.
I have.
That's shoved into the wall. That requires force.
I have in New York, once.
Dude, that is plowed into the walls.
That is paper thin wallpaper too.
I mean, it is, but like
Still. It's thick enough, yeah.
After checking out a few of the conference rooms, we decided to check out the back rooms where the employees would have had their work.
I feel like we're in the upside down right now.
I hope that's just a cricket.
So we have the storage closets, so the back rooms here of the hotel. This is where they try to keep you from.
Wow, that's not safe.
Yeah, look at that. It might be. Find something hidden back here.
Wow. Good.
Yeah. Well, we could tell it's been abandoned since then.
Well, it's been abandoned longer than that.
Oh, yeah.
Someone's been here recently.
We made our way out of the back rooms of the hotel, and then worked our way over to the main roof, as you can see on this drone shot.
So we've made it onto the roof now, and it's pretty spectacular. It's always cool to see a roof view, and I gotta look where I'm walking because I don't want to fall through here. But definitely major tagged up. And you can kind of get a view of this entire place. So if you look down there, they have the loading dock, or up here. See if there's anything that I can, cool that I can see up here. Even on the roof, these things have been ransacked, so every single wire looks like it's been taken. Anything of any sort of value, strippers have come and just taken. That's definitely sad. Got a hammer. Wow. Anybody need a hammer?
Wow, is this a College Point?
The Marriott Hotel brand renamed this the Ramada, and right from the start, guests were complaining. The problem this resort was running into was that it had spent a number of years abandoned, and if you spent any amount of time in Florida, leaving a hotel abandoned is a devastating result. From the day of the resort's reopening, they were flooded with a bunch of negative reviews, with the most common subject being mold and mildew within the rooms. In an attempt to regain business, the hotel was rebranded again, and this time it was named the Orlando Sun Resort. In another futile attempt to regain business, the rebrand of the resort did nothing to combat the negative reviews that it was receiving. This rebranding took place in around 2010, and then in 2012, the resort was closed for good. To this day, some of the resort's booking.com photos and reviews are still being circulated throughout the internet.
This one has been tagged up galore. That's sad. It's big, big building.
From the resort's closing in 2012 to about the year 2023, this resort was heavily guarded by security. As a result, there was not really many squatters or homeless people that were hiding out here. Look at this. They have a little souvenir shop right here. Look at this. They had a pizza shop over here, it looks like. And over here in the corner, looks like there's ice cream. In 2014, the Sun Resort was put up for sale again for around $75 million. This property would remain unsold until 2021, when a company based out of New York purchased it. Though still abandoned, the condition of the hotel remained stable for the next couple of years. Unfortunately, the years 2023 and 2024 would soon change that. In late March of 2024, a massive fire would break out in the main conference section of the resort. Around the year 2023, the guards that had been protecting the resort for the last decade seemingly were called off. That led to a massive influx of people vandalizing this resort, and the fire in 2024 was deemed suspicious by authorities. Within a couple of years, the Orlando Sun Resort went from an untouched abandoned time capsule to an unrecognizable wasteland. Look at this. This would have been their office. And over here, there's their filing cabinet. Oh, here's one of the key cards. A purse, and nothing in here. Okay. And it looks like that's where they would have sat at the desk. At the time we had explored this resort, it was about 2 years before this fire would take place, and everything still was there. Look at right here. There's a printer that the office would have used. The employees' offices appeared to have been mostly untouched as we looked through them. Here's another office right here with some pictures. Around the year 2024, with there no longer being any guards at this place, a lot of homeless people saw an opportunity. There were now near 1,000 rooms that homeless people could take advantage of, getting shelter from the sun. And that's exactly what people started doing. A homeless community was set up in the back of this resort, creating what you could argue was Orlando's version of Slab City. Looks like this was a locker room for the employees. And then over here, you had some benches. Here's this room a little bit more lit up. Looks like somebody smashed some lights over there. It's a pretty big locker room, honestly. This is where they would have possibly washed the dishes or rinsed them off. And look over here. There's a massive refrigerator. This is where they would have stored the food. This is huge. We took a closer look into the back rooms of this hotel, and it shows just how much this was built to be a conference center. This is where they might have also washed dishes. This glass is smashed. Alright, we're gonna head down this hallway now. You can see the graffiti over here. There's a banquet cooler, so they would have brought a bunch of tins in and put that in that fridge over there to keep them cool. Oh my word. It looks like this is a kitchen. Yeah, this is where they would have baked things here. Look at the size of these ovens. There's so many of them. There's like 4. And I've gotten so much stuff on my shoes. Wow. This was quite the kitchen. Look at the size of this mixer. Oh my word, that's huge. It's got a serious bowl that they would use for this. My word. Out of all my explores, this hotel had one of the biggest kitchens out of any place we have been. Unfortunately, we filmed this place 3 years ago, and today this resort is simply just unsafe. Most of the homeless people that are staying on this hotel are actually very friendly. However, there are some criminals that have been known to be very angry at people that are exploring these places. A couple months ago, my friends were exploring this campus, and they caught some people on camera doing some illegal stuff. And they had a dog with them, and they had the dog chase after them. Over here, it looks like this was actually where the dishwasher was. This is one of the biggest dishwashers I've ever seen. You look, they would have loaded the dishes and they would have run through it on like a track to get washed. With that being said, if you do explore this place, please make sure that you're extremely careful, and I would not suggest that you do so. Throughout 2024 and 2025, news started to break that the Sun Resort was soon going to see a possible redevelopment. And in early of March 2025, the Osceola Commissioner approved a redevelopment plan. Though this is just the first step in redevelopment, this plan is very ambiguous. The goal of the developers is to completely demolish what remains of the Sun Resort, and then in its place, put up 3 hotels and create a tourist attraction. Included in these plans is a massive shopping plaza for tourists to attend. If this development does go through, it will be bittersweet. This place has gotten so dangerous. However, there is history, and it has become a home for many homeless people. If this development goes through, they will most definitely have to find a new place to live. On that somber note, let us cut back to 2022, where we have just spotted the guard and started to make a run for it to escape. Unfortunately, my audio had cut out, so you can't hear any noises as we're running through. Due to the sheer size of this resort, it took us a couple minutes to get out of here and find a safe way out without the guard spotting us, but eventually, we finally made it out. In reality, the Sun Resort will not be here for much longer. Like so many buildings before it, this structure is simply a relic of the past at this point. The Orlando Sun Resort saw one of the biggest rises and falls in modern hotel history, at one point being the largest hotel in Florida. This hotel very much helped usher in a whole new wave of tourism into Florida, and my goal with my films is to have fun and also preserve the history and legacy of these places. And with that, I conclude my episode on the Orlando Sun Resort.